Hello, everybody, and welcome to my review of Daredevil number 20, an issue that is written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Mark Cacchetto. I have really loved this run of Chip Zdarsky's. This issue continues that, and if you remember the last issue, pretty much had a bunch of villains in Hell's Kitchen with a few days to thrill or destroy and burn and just, wreck Hell's Kitchen, seemingly with the Strom winds behind this, trying to just do a real estate ploy. They're trying to get everyone out of the kitchen because it's hot and they can buy up all of the real estate. And with that, you end up having the Strom winds putting pretty much a shutdown, a kibosh on any sort of news coming out of this. It's not on the internet. It's not trending. It isn't. And there aren't any things in the regular television news, anything like that. They've shut it down. But a little +1 to the boomers.
Okay, boomer.
An old lady calls up the Daily Bugle on her landline and says, I don't know what's going on. I look outside and there's a bunch of people wrecking shit. She doesn't mind her language there in Hell's Kitchen. I mean, please. But yeah, because this lady doesn't deal with cell phones or the internet,
okay,
she's going to get the news out there. She is one of the heroes of the story, as Ben Urich and the Daily Bugle, they're aware of this. They head off to the kitchen. This seems to get a lot of the media eventually involved. And there, well, in Hell's Kitchen, crap has hit the fan. I mean, it's called Hell's Kitchen. It's not called Heaven's Kitchen, for crying out loud. So you end up having Cole North, you end up having Matt Murdock, and a bunch of people still in Hell's Kitchen, the residents there dressing up in inspiration from Daredevil, and everybody is fighting. I mean, you are just having just massive fights, and that is what the whole issue kind of is about. And we see Matt Murdock there, and Matt is looking pretty good. He is on his game finally. He's ready to kick butt and take names. And in this here, he kind of reminds me of Zdarsky and Hutch. He's, sliding around like that. And really, if you know Zdarsky and Hutch, you know that everybody wants to be Zdarsky. Nobody wants to be Hutch. And just like nobody wants to be Oates. Sorry, Oates. Nobody wants to be it. But you go off and Matt, as he fights, and this does have a progression throughout this issue of Matt kind of going from villain to take care of them. Now, one of the things that is going on is stilt-Man, is kind of a joke. Matt even says it in the issue. But stilt-Man throwing bombs at buildings, that ups the ante. And with stilt-Man's going after the church, that last issue, Rhino actually told everybody, hey, heads up, I'm going to wreck this church. I don't want to kill anybody in a church. Please, everybody get out of the church. Well, stilt-Man, he doesn't want to wait. He's impatient. He's going to bomb the church. And that's where we do get the reveal that Typhoid Mary is in the house. And we saw this from last issue leading into this, that it was Sister Elizabeth. And Matt is afraid, oh my God, Typhoid Mary woke up. I hope this doesn't cause trouble. And Typhoid Mary is cool and looks great. Mark Cacchetto's art's great throughout all of this. But I do get kind of weirded out by the name Typhoid Mary. And I said, I wonder if she has like a friend, gonorrhea Gladys, maybe, hepatitis Helen, something like that. They could start a band. I think it would be a punk band, obviously, but you end up having Typhoid Mary. Again, is this another Born Agains? Because she's back, and that's big. And there are really big moments in this issue. The only thing I really have a problem with is the progression, is the idea of Matt having to go villain to villain to villain. And when you get to the end, I would have rather have seen him go more at a bullseye than a huge fight, because the biggest fight here, a huge fight with stilt-Man, but it's a pretty good fight. And the choreography is great. The art looks fantastic. And like I said, Matt then goes through a bunch of the villains. He ends up getting shot by Crossbones and then slashed by Owlsley. And they pretty much have Matt dead to rights. And they do think, okay, with all of these phonies, fakes, they do realize, okay, this guy has some moves. I think this might be the real Daredevil. And they're going to kill him. But you end up having him saved by the big deal of everybody in Hell's Kitchen getting on their masks and things. And like I said, in homage or inspiration from Daredevil, they are going to fight back. Now, they better watch out because they're going to get killed. These are big villains. These are some super villains that don't like to get hit in the head with a rock. Well, luckily for them, then they get saved by Kingpin, who comes in looking massive, just massive. And he comes in and he does remind me of Harrison Ford a bit here.
Get off my plane.
You know, he's there yelling, get off my citizens, and just punches Crossbones. Look at that fist. It's huge. He's got the rings, too. He didn't take no rings off for this fight. And yeah, I still laugh,
Get
though.
off my
Get
plane.
off my plane. And he goes, and this is where Owlsley freaks out because he's been proclaiming to everyone that he's Kingpin. He's been telling everybody, look at me, I'm the Kingpin. Not that Wilson Fisk. He's mayor. I'm Kingpin. And Owlsley's pissed. He even yells. I mean, he has some balls. He yells at Kingpin, hey, I'm the real Kingpin. In the meantime, his hired goons here, they aren't really down with what's going on. They don't really want to be wrecking the kitchen because a lot of them live in the kitchen. They grew up in the kitchen. They have family in the kitchen. So they pretty much bail on Owlsley, and that kind of ends his little run, it seems, of being the Kingpin. But what you get is a team-up now with Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, and Matt Murdock, Daredevil, and it looks great. Now, they're kind of arguing with each other about that. It's not a real team-up. I mean, these guys, they got to get rid of this sexual tension, if you ask me, right? Because they're going to, back-to-back, action movie. We're going to fight it out. Let's get all of this done. Well, as this goes on, there's an explosion. Matt gets thrown away, to the side. Kingpin's on the side as well. And that's where Foggy just comes in. He like, woo, woo, woo. He comes in, gives Matt his sticks. They kind of have that moment of, listen, Foggy, I know. We don't have time for that. Let's go. He ends up saving Foggy. Foggy would have been shot right in the face there. But you end up then having Matt full out Daredevil. And it's awesome. I always love when you get the radar sense. You get to see how Matt is seeing things, quote unquote, seeing things, feeling things like that. And the way that he is going here, he's fully ready. Now, like at the beginning of the series when he accidentally killed a man, he's ready to go. And he is going to take out all of these villains, Crossbones, Bullet. He ends up then going against Bullseye. And Bullseye just goes to town, starts shooting at him. But Matt, he's like Neo. He's going to stop. He's the one, stops everything. Bullseye pretty much craps his pants and leaves. And at the end then, you end up, all right, they've taken care of business. Typhoid Mary, she's like, hey, I'm out. She's going to go. And then you get Owlsley, who ends up standing up as if it's Lethal Weapon. And he's going to kill Kingpin. And luckily, there is Cole North to save Kingpin's butt, which he should. He is the mayor, And then the issue does end with Kingpin still on there. He's always campaigning. He's always his own hype man here. You end up having the press come, Mr. Kingpin, what's going on, Mr. Fisk? Well, I'm just doing what's best for the city. And you know that the video of all this fighting and things like that will be in the next commercial for him running when he's going for re-election, and he will approve that message. But then at the end, you end up having Matt on camera, on the news, pretty much verify, yes, I am the real Daredevil. I am back, but only for a minute because I'm going to turn myself in for the murder of Leo Carrero, the guy he ended up accidentally killing at the beginning of the series. And this was a really, really good issue. I didn't like it as much as the last two. And please don't yell at me. I still liked it. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10, but it's one of those, the progression and kind of the idea going point A to point B to point C, just fighting these villains to get to the end. It's great. And it really showed Matt is back. And I love the cliffhanger kind of changing things up. And now seemingly we'll get like the trial of Daredevil. And Chip Zdarsky is grabbing a lot of feels from the past Daredevil stuff, and I really do like it. I like how he's making it his own as well, and the art's fantastic. So you end up getting Kingpin back to kind of, hey, I'm mayor, but I'm still Kingpin. He's sick and tired of people treating him like crap and not respecting him like they did as Kingpin. You get Matt fully back as Daredevil, but now he's turning himself in. And you get Typhoid Mary going off probably for that punk band with maybe Syphilis Sally. But yeah, I really liked it. And I hope that you liked this review. If you did, think about subscribing to the channel, like it, all that stuff. I'm not doing this very long, so I don't know what you're supposed to say at the end, but check out the notes in this as well down below, where you can find all sorts of links to everything Weird Science, Marvel Podcast and Site, DC Podcast and Site, Patreon, where you can go and support us and get a ton of other shows if you do sign up at patreon.com/weird science. But check everything out. Thanks, everybody. And I'll talk to you later.